We all know what sacrifice means. There's sacrificing for yourself, like sticking to a diet or going to the gym. You're willing to make that sacrifice today for a better version of yourself in the future. There's sacrificing for others. You're willing to give up your time, your comfort for the sake of another person, because we see that as an important value. And then there's a third category, and that is making a sacrifice for God. And that's where it gets a little bit complicated for people. Why would God need anything from us? Why would God want something from us? And historically, why did that involve an altar and, in most cases, an animal? And that's what we're going to explore. The concept of sacrifice, it's actually quite simple. You're giving up something to get something else. It's not that complicated. The more valuable the thing is that we want, the more we're willing to sacrifice. For education, we're willing to spend a lot of money and a lot of time because we value being educated. For family, we're willing to invest a lot because we value love. And for God, we're also, in many cases, willing to invest and to make sacrifices in order to have the best possible relationship with God that we can have. We're trying to come closer to something higher, and that requires an investment. The sacrifices in the temple weren't random. They were very organized and very orderly. The Kohanim, which we translate as priests, which is a really bad translation, but we'll go with it, they would bring offerings on behalf of themselves, on behalf of individual people, and also on behalf of the nation. The sacrifices were brought literally every single day, more than once a day, but even on holidays, special occasions, and on the Shabbat, the Sabbath. There were three different types or categories, let's call it, of offerings. There were offerings brought from animals. There were offerings brought from grain. Often that was people who couldn't afford an animal sacrifice. And there was even gold and silver that was brought or offered to the temple. We'll call that a sacrifice as well. So we already see something important. This wasn't just about animals. This was about relationship, about building a connection between heaven and earth. The Hebrew word for sacrifice is korban. It doesn't mean to kill, to lose, to give something up. At its root, it has a three-letter root made up of the letters kuf, resh, and vet. This three-letter root means to come close. A korban is something that brings us closer. It is not meant to make us feel distant, guilty, or unworthy. It's the exact opposite. It's a spiritual tool. Let's look at one of the most dramatic moments in the entire Torah, the Hebrew Bible, and we could learn a lot from this. Abraham brings his son Isaac to Mount Moriah as he is instructed to bring him as an offering. And at the moment where Abraham lifts the knife and he's about to plunge a knife into Isaac's neck, God calls out to him and tells him, "Stop! Do not take his life." And from this lesson, we learn in the most dramatic way that God does not want us to give up our lives for Him, but rather He wants us to live for Him. And in that episode, what happens next is that Abraham then takes a ram in place of Isaac and offers up the ram. This is the moment that sets the foundation for all of the offerings that will ever take place. Not death in the name of God, but life in the name of God. It's as if we are saying to God, I would love to give you anything and everything. I'm willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. I would even give my life to you. I would even give the life of my son to you. But I know that you want me to live for you. So in my place, I will take this ram. I will take this goat. This animal will be in my stead. It's an expression of devotion, not a demand for suffering. So why an animal? Well, an animal is the closest thing in the physical world to a human being. It breathes, it has a heartbeat, it feels. But when the person brought the animal to the temple and handed it over to the Kohen, he didn't just give it to him. Beforehand, he had to undergo a process called smicha. What was smicha? He would put his hands on the animal and lean. And if they would move the animal, the person would literally fall over, meaning that he was completely investing himself into that animal. Again, it would be like saying, I want to give myself to you, God, but I know you want me to live for you, so I am investing myself into this animal. So it is not about barbarity or cruelty, it's about an investment in this relationship with God. Now, this is where people ask a very fair question. Was an animal sacrifice really animal cruelty? Well, we have to understand that most of the offering and most offerings were in fact eaten. It was eaten either by the Kohen, the priest, or by family, or by poor. It didn't go to waste. It wasn't wanton cruelty and destruction of animals. It was used for a spiritual ends, and then the meat of that animal was eaten. Compare this to what's happening today. Literally, thousands of animals are being slaughtered at this very moment for the sake of profit or for the sake of food. In the temple, animals were taken care of. They were brought as part of a holy ritual in order to bring us closer to our Creator. It wasn't random, it wasn't recreational, and it certainly wasn't because God needed it, it was because we needed it. Nowadays, we don't have a temple and we don't bring animal sacrifices. So what do we do instead? In the Jewish faith, we follow the verse in the Bible that says that our lips will replace the bullocks. We've taken prayer as a replacement for the offerings that were brought in the temple. If you've learned something here and you're enjoying, I urge you to subscribe to the channel. It will really help us grow.